Hello, how you doing? Justin here. After my little wah-wah pedal reviews the other day, a lot of people asked me to do some lessons on some funk guitar. So I'm going to do this little series now. This first lesson is going to show you some basic funk chords. So we're going to just be looking at kind of 6 really common, cool, fairly straightforward, not too difficult to play chords that are good for doing funk. The next lesson we're going to have a look at some rhythm guitar, some basic funk rhythm. Then we're going to have a look at a few more fancy chords in the next lesson, and a few more complicated rhythm strumming patterns that you might use in funk. A lot of people ask that before I go on and do the lesson I show you what's going to happen in practice. So I'm just going to play you a little bit of the sort of funk stuff that you'll hopefully be able to play at the end of the course after you've done your practice, but don't expect to be able to do it straight away. So take it away, Justin. That kind of thing. There was a whole lot of chords going on there, a lot more chords than you probably need to do, and I was just showing off how many, kind of the possibilities a bit. So what we're going to start off with is just looking at 6 really cool common chord grips. These are going to be, I'll do a close-up of these in a sec, E9, another version of E9, E13, E7, another version of E7, and E7 sus4 or E11. Before I try and show you how to use any of these things, we definitely need to get a bit of a close-up and make sure that you get the fingering right for each of these chords, because it makes quite a big difference. So let's go to a close-up and check that out. The first chord we're going to look at today is this E9 chord, which looks like this. I'll go through with you. So it's 2nd finger on the 7th fret of the 5th string. That's the root note where we get the chord's name from. Then we've got the 1st finger going down in the 6th fret of the 4th string, 3rd finger going down on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, little finger going down on the 7th fret of the 2nd string. Now it's very important that you realise when you're playing this chord that the 2nd finger here is touching the thicker string and muting it, and the little finger, the underneath of the little finger there is muting that 1st string. So we should have muted 6th string, then note, and that thinner string is muted. So that's the first E9 chord we're looking at. Now the second E9 chord we're looking at is very similar, but all we're going to do is we're going to use a 3rd finger to make a little bar on the thinnest 3 strings. Now make sure that you remember to get this knuckle further away from the neck than this part of the hand, so it's really going out that toward you there. So just like when you're doing an A-shaped bar chord, it's the same kind of feeling. Then we have 2nd finger reaching over the top of the 3rd finger there, and 1st finger in the same place as it was for the other E9. So this one's really similar, but now we get this top note as well. So the top note here is B, the thinnest string is being held down. So this is also an E9. So we had that E9, and now we've got this E9. Now, a really funky little variation of this one is to use this 13th chord. So this is the same as our 9th chord here, but we stretch up with the little finger up 2 frets. So this little finger is just going down here. This is in the 9th fret. E9, E13. Very cool little chord. So that's that one there, that's a E13. Now another really common chord that we can use here is this little E7 chord here. Just shuffle my hand back a little bit, there we go. So now this one here, we've got the root note here now with the 3rd finger. 2nd finger is going on the 6th fret. Little finger is going on the 7th fret of the 3rd string. 1st finger is going on the 5th fret of the 2nd string. This is an E7, noting of course again that the 3rd finger is muting that thicker string, so that doesn't sound, and the underneath of the 1st finger there, right around at the back there, is touching the 1st string. So we should have muted note, 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 and thinnest string is muted again. So that one's an E7. Now there's another very common way to play an E7, which is up here. Now this one's just a kind of an A-shaped bar chord. There would be your regular like E chord, your bar chord. Notice I'm tucking that finger away so you get a good view. You wouldn't normally play it like that. So that would be your regular E chord. Now E7 is played like this. So this is a full bar with the first finger at the 7th fret, the root note being there, and again making sure that the tip of the first finger is muting that thicker string. Doesn't really matter when we play an E chord, but it matters a lot when we play other chords. So then 3rd finger is going down in the 9th fret of the 4th string. Little finger is going down in the 9th fret of the 2nd string. Now that would be the whole chord. So we've got like nothing on the thicker string. 7, 9, 7, 9, 7 would be the fret numbers. Now I often don't like the sound of that thinnest, that B at the end. So a little trick for you sometimes is I play a little bar there with the first finger, but I'm lifting that knuckle up, this one here, I'm lifting that up a little bit so that the thinner string is actually muted. So if I strum it, we get, and the thinner string is not there. I quite like the sound of that, not having that B on the top. The same with the E9, we had 2 types. So with the E7 we can have all the notes, or we can stop it at the 2nd string. And this leads us very nicely onto our last chord for this session, which is a E11 or an E7 sus4, depending on it, either one is correct really, which is exactly the same as our E7, but we just move our little finger forward 1 fret. There's E7, so E7 sus4 or E11 and E7. Now if you put these in a particular order, you can end up with a really cool chord scale. So if we had here E7, E9, the first one I showed you, E7, E11, E9 the second one, and then E13, hopefully you can hear the top note is playing like a little scale. Again. And that's one of the big tricks for making melodies out of your funk chords, is having all of those melody notes available. Before you get going and trying to learn the rhythm, it's a really good idea to practice up those chords. We're mainly going to be using the 9th chord, when the second version of the 9th chord, when we start learning funk rhythm guitar. But have a practice of all of them. Practice changing between them. It can be quite challenging for these things, especially when you have to change them quite fast in a kind of a funky way. You don't have a lot of time, so just find a couple of that you think sound good together and practice moving one to the next, one to the next. Use the 1-minute changes, which I think is a video lesson here called How to Make Your Chord Changes Faster. That would be a really good thing for you to check out too. So have a bit of fun with those chords, and I'll see you very soon for some basic funk rhythm guitar. Take care of yourselves.